آزادی بیان
言论自由
Free speech. All right, I'm speaking today with Ahmed Mansoor, prominent human rights activist and law student at Ajman University in the United Arab Emirates. Ahmed, you and four other activists, who the media called the UAE Five, were detained in April of 2011 and charged that June with, quote, opposing the Emirati government, inciting demonstrations, and insulting the country's leadership. These charges seem to stem from a website you maintained with four other activists called UAEhiwar.net, where you allegedly insulted Emirati leadership, so the charges went. What did you and the others write that the government found so offensive?
So what has been written was really nothing beyond, the standard, freedom of expression, expressions, I would say. For example, one individual that has been given a sentence of 2 years imprisonment then wrote something like, talking in a subject that was talking about the economic crisis and its impact on Dubai. He wrote, or he has been accused of writing, that if Dubai is successful, we would say that this success was because of Dubai rulers. And if Dubai fails, basically, we'll find somebody else to blame. And that was considered to be a humiliating comment to the vice president, and he has been accordingly given 2 years imprisonment sentence for that particular comment. Another person basically wrote something, wrote a comment, and it was probably the only incident where the president has been brought into discussion and during or in the interrogation phase. The person wrote a statement saying that with all respect to the president and my full knowledge that he is a very noble person and very big-hearted person, his personality is weak. And he did not really, write that with the intention of really humiliating him, but he was, contributing in the overall discussion that has been talking about who is really controlling the country at that moment of time.
So you were sentenced to 3 years in prison, but released after only 7 months in prison when the president pardoned you and the others. Why do you think President Sheikh Khalifa issued this pardon?
Well, I think because he might have got the information from his own sources that these individuals are not really guilty, and what has been done to them is not really fair, and they did not get any fair trial or even worth what has been done to them. Of course, we spent almost 8 months in jail, and we were released the next day of the verdict. So it has been commuted the next day immediately after our verdict was issued.
Do you think the media attention and human rights activists writing about the case, do you think that helped at all in getting the pardon?
I think that definitely, enlightened people about the reality of the case, because inside UAE the campaign was really, really smear, and they asked all the tribes in UAE to go and sign basically 2 documents, one of them showing loyalty to the president, and one of them to take us to the court. They used their TV channels, they used their radio stations, they used BlackBerry as part of this smear campaign. They brought people to protest in front of the court while our hearings were going on. And, they did not spare any effort really, and to character assassinate us. So it was really a difficult period for everybody, and it was unprecedented in the country here.
So I know shortly before your release in November of 2011, you and the other activists went on a hunger strike. How long did that actually last, and do you think it played a role in being pardoned?
Well, first of all, the hunger strike lasted for 16 days, and We only broke the hunger strike on the day that we were released. Of course, I'm talking about most of us. Only one person had to, for some other reason, had to quit hunger strike 5 days earlier than that. We wanted really to send a very strong message to the people of UAE and also to the decision makers here in UAE, telling them that we were really left with no option except go to that extent to tell you that we are very certain from whatever we've seen and whatever we went through that we will not get any fair trial. And I think the message was heard very well and heard loudly by the decision makers. And I do not know if it really if it was a coincidence or not, but apparently the decision of our release has been taken during that period of time, during the hunger strike time.
So you've already mentioned a few times the smear campaign against you, and I know that you've been the target of death threats, slander, and defamation campaigns online. Uh, what are the negative things that people have been saying, and has the government done anything to address these attacks?
No, unfortunately, the government did not do anything despite the numerous number of complaints and, in different parts of the emirate as well. And even during the court, during our case, basically we voiced in on all these complaints and concerns, but neither the state prosecutor, nor the state security prosecutor, nor the court paid an attention to them. We also filed so many of those complaints in the different emirates, naming some of them Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah, but they did not take an action on those at all. This is very unfortunate, of course, but we were really denied justice as part of this whole campaign. The threat went as far as death threats from some individuals who were so clear in providing their identities, their full names, their phone numbers, and some of them even with their photos in their Facebook accounts.
Yeah, I read that a man spit in your face and pushed you to the ground, and then another
Yes,
man punched you in the head. Who's
that's.
carrying out these attacks?
It could be that they were given information from somebody inside the university, or it could be that my position is tracked, and that would be possible only through the authorities.
And you mentioned that your laptop was recently damaged, and that you're still under surveillance. Can you tell me what actually happened there?
Well, I've been attacked by a malware, a very sophisticated version of the malware, apparently, that the authorities in the region have been using against individuals, which allow the authorities to gain an illegal access to someone's emails and computer. That really very much crashes the computer and give them access to the email accounts by creating an application specific password, which stays there even if you change your password, so that they can have their own access, direct access to your emails. I know that my activities, my online activities, and my phones are monitored for quite a long time, and that was also confirmed during our trial that they were really, monitoring my phone and my activities, and I could tell that they are doing that still.
So information came out in the trial that you think could have only been gained by them illegally tapping your phone and checking your email?
Oh yes, they brought some printouts from my emails, my personal emails, and that was part of the case documents, and also they showed some basically permissions to tap in my phone calls, but they can do that anytime. I mean that. And that document can be established at any time.
Yeah, I said illegally, but I realize this is
Yeah,
something that the government's carrying out, so it's probably
yeah.
not illegal.
Hmm.
Uh, According to Reporters Without Borders, they keep a track of who they consider to be internet enemies, and the UAE
Hmm.
is now under surveillance, according to them. I've spent
Yes.
time in the UAE doing research, and I know that censorship is quite strong, and
Hmm.
obviously we've seen pressure against netizens like yourself is very strong. Why do you think that is in the UAE? Why are they cracking down so much on how people use the internet, and especially on netizens' activity?
Well, actually, this is a very interesting question. For quite a long time, the only media outlets available in the country were the government-owned media, and even those that are, can be considered as private media outlets, like some of the daily press here in UAE are either government pro or indirectly controlled by the government. When the online media or the new media became so popular and started to gain momentum in the region, people found it to have much more credible and much more convenient way of really getting the information, simply because the government control over that media is not as severe and as strong as it is in the the classical media. So they started to see that there is some sort of a freedom that is beyond the limits that they would accept happening, and they cannot control it very well. So they started to basically put all their thoughts together and see how can they stop this from forwarding and becoming more effective in the society, and because that could really disturb their ongoing plan in disseminating the information. And
So, moving on to a few other points I want to cover, is it true that
mm.
your passport has been confiscated by the government?
Well, it has been taken when I was arrested, and they refused to give it back to me. So it is there still with them. They are holding it. They are refusing to give it back to me until the day, for no good reason, really.
So, I take it you haven't been able to leave the country since you were released.
No, no, no. I tried actually to use my ID card, because that was, this is something that you can use in traveling between the GCC countries. But I was denied, entry to Kuwait, basically because the security authorities here in UAE informed them not to allow me to enter Kuwait. So they allowed me to leave from UAE, but they instructed them to deny me entry in Kuwait.
Another point that I wanted to talk to you about, you've been a very outspoken critic of the detention of 61 peaceful dissidents with ties to the UAE based Islamist group Al Islah. Can you tell us about their case and the situation that they're in?
Well, yes. I mean, the case started really back in 2011, when one of the 61 individuals that belong to Islah was asked to spy on some of his colleagues from Islah, and he refused. That guy is bidun, is stateless, so he has been put in prison for indefinite period of time, and he cannot be deported to anywhere because he's stateless. He doesn't carry any citizenship. Then after that, sometime in December, after we were released, we were shocked to see that the authorities here decided to revoke the citizenship of six individuals, and we came to know later on that another individual citizenship has been also revoked 6 months before that. So we had, at that time, six individuals whom citizenship been withdrawn by the government without really going through the constitutional process, or even through the court. So, we started really supporting those individuals, and, calling for their rights to be given to them. And we denounced basically this act because we do not think it's legal or constitutional, and violates the basic rights of people. After that, those individuals were asked to either obtain a citizenship in 2 weeks' time, or they face immediate imprisonment. They were accordingly arrested because they refused really to go and look for another citizenship in the first place, because they do not believe that the revocation of their citizenship is legal. And not to mention, of course, getting a citizenship in 2 weeks is almost impossibility.
Okay, so we have a few principles at free speech debate that seem to apply to your situation, and I suppose also to al-Islah. Our
Mhm.
sixth principle says, we neither make threats of violence nor accept violent intimidation. And you've certainly been the subject of violent intimidation. Has this caused you to self-censor your criticism of the government at all?
No, I think I've been always an outspoken person, and the only limits that I put to myself is the ethical limits, and I try to be as credible as I can, and I will continue doing so, because I believe free speech is the prerequisite for any development to happen in any place and any country. And I'm driven totally by my passion and my love to this country, and I do not think I should be backing off from following the same principle that I've been following until now.
All right. Ahmed Mansoor, famed member of the UAE 5 and human rights activist, thanks very much for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thanks.